everybody, and welcome to another episode of Insufficient Friends. I'm Kevin. She's Nikki.
Hi.
And this week, we're going to jump right into it because there's a lot to talk about with the football season, NFL season just ending. My uncle, Doug, and cousin Brayden are joining us once again to talk about the season as a whole and what we're gonna see in the off season, postseason, whatever. Not the off season, postseason, Super Bowl, all that kind of stuff. Off season's still a month away, but anyway, Doug, Brayden, welcome. Thanks for coming on again. It's been Doug, me and you just recorded an episode for after this, but it's been a while since we did this. Seems like just yesterday that we started the football season, but we're already to the end of it, so that's kind of crazy. But hey guys, how's it going?
Good. Good.
Good.
Yeah. Not too bad. Yeah, you're right though. Brayden and I was talking about preseason, couldn't wait for, Thursday night game, and here we are ready for playoffs. It goes by fast.
Yeah. This has been a crazy season too, by the way. Like, I feel like there was a lot of I made this comment to you guys a minute ago that I don't watch that many games because I have to sleep and just don't like working the weird schedule that I do. I don't get to watch most of them, but I feel like there was a lot more parity, is what they like to say, I guess. There was a lot more randomness this year in the season than normal. There's a lot more just. There wasn't as many. We got to know teams being winless faster. Just a bunch of stuff going on. What did you guys think? Like, just overall, like what overall this year? Doug, let's start with you.
I just there was just no dominant team. You nailed it when you said just parity. I mean, the playoffs are completely wide open. I don't. I think some of the one seeds could fall, and some of the seven seeds could sneak in. I just think it was a very unusual. Usually, you have going into the playoffs one team that I feel like everyone's like, okay, they probably are, you know, head and shoulders above everyone else. I don't see it this year. I just haven't seen. There's just been a lot of. I'm not gonna say mediocrity, but just a lot of, like you said, there's just a lot of evenness in the league right now between the teams.
Mm-hmm.
That was my overall thought of the season. So
Yeah, Braden, what about you?
Mine was just how much difference a year can make in terms of these teams like Chicago and New England, just coming out of nowhere. No one expected them to be up there winning their divisions and hosting playoff games. Normally, with new coaches and stuff, you don't see the turnarounds that quick. With Dan Campbell and the Lions, it took him a couple of years. He won like 2 or 3 games his first year, and Brable won 14 games this year. Like, you just don't. They were, New England was a 4-win team last year, and now they're, the number 2 seed, and they could honestly win the Super Bowl. So I don't, you just don't normally see that. So yeah, you got a lot of teams that kind of came out of nowhere, and then teams like Kansas City that were in the Super Bowl last year and missing the playoffs. So just a year's difference. Normally, there's like one or two teams that kind of surprise everybody. There were several teams this year that just really were surprising.
Yeah, it was. There's a lot of craziness going on in the league this year. Um, did you guys have a like? What was Braden? What was your biggest storyline from 2025? Like, what was the biggest thing that you think happened this year?
This for me was easy. I said Kansas City missing the playoffs. I don't think anybody saw that coming. Even me, I don't root for them. Everybody knows that, but I still thought they'd be a wild card team. I didn't think they were going to be dominant or very. I didn't think they were going to be great, but I thought they could definitely get in the wild card. And obviously, if they're in the playoffs, you don't want to play them.
Yeah,
So to me, that was the biggest storyline. I don't think anybody saw that one.
yeah. Doug, what about you?
totally totally agree. I mean, them not playing well. I mean, I don't think they was near as good as what they won so many last second games last year. So you know, but them not making the playoffs, like Braden said, it was a big surprise. I thought, just during the season, the Colts collapse. They start out 7-1, and then they just go on this dismal,
Mm-hmm.
falling off the earth. And then, more recently, um, which just happened in last week with John Harbaugh getting fired by the Ravens. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone saw that coming. They obviously made their choice to stick with Lamar and go a different direction, and I think that caught everyone. So that was more recent. And then, yeah, I had down like the Patriots and the Bears both just kind of coming out of nowhere though. So yeah, but the Colts, that Colts collapse was abysmal. That was hard to believe. They went from starting out so well to just they just couldn't beat anybody. And you know, it, whether that was all Daniel Jones or what, or whether their schedule got tougher, but yeah, those things in general were just kind of, I think, some interesting storylines.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys have a favorite game that you liked this year? Was there a game that you thought stood out over everything else this year?
I feel like every week there was like a game of the year candidate. I said the week 16, whatever, the Rams Seahawks game on Thursday night. Seattle won that 38-37. I thought that was up there for game of the year, but there were so many good games this year that could be. But for a Thursday night game, that was really good. Late in the season, that had big playoff implications too. So that was a really fun game to watch.
Hey.
Same one. I wrote down the exact same thing.
Yeah,
There
Okay.
was, and I don't know, Brayden may remember the Bears game where DJ Moore caught the pass in the end zone. I don't remember which week that was or
that
who
was
they
like that
played, but
was week 14, week 15, something. But even like
okay.
the week one Sunday night game, the Bills Ravens, when you know Buffalo won that like 41-40. Like
Yeah.
you know, there were so many. Every week there was a game that could be best game of the year, but I don't know. Those Thursday night games just usually aren't that good. Like they're not. You don't get games like that on Thursday usually. So
Which surprises me because I'm sure like you would think that the NFL, I mean, they want every game to be good, but that's a supposedly a primetime game. Like you would think they would be trying to schedule that to be a good game. I would assume anyway, but I don't know. Maybe they're not.
Well,
Maybe they don't want it to be good.
I think in the last couple of years, Thursday night games have gotten so much better. Actually, I think, I don't know about this year, but last year, Brady and I kind of went through the Thursday m- compared to Monday night games, and the Thursday night games were better
Mm-hmm.
on paper. So I think they have tried to step that game up because that has been a lot of complaints is that they put historically they've had some real stinkers on Thursday, and a lot of times your players are still tired.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between playing again on Thursday than having those extra 3 days rest on Sunday. So, um, but yeah, that's why Braden, I agree with him to have that kind of game on a Thursday night. You just don't get that often.
Yeah.
So,
Who did? Let's switch to players real quick. Do you guys have a? Who did you guys think disappointed the most this year? What players did you guys think didn't perform what you thought was gonna what they should have done?
I I'm choosing this guy because he was on my team and I complained to him all year about it with Brian Thomas. I took him in the third round of our fantasy draft, and I was like, 'cause I took two running backs, and then I got him, and I was like, I just got a steal. Like he shouldn't still be here on the board, and he like had 600 yards and two touchdowns all year. Like I don't know what happened. Last year he had 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns. I thought he was gonna put up similar numbers to that, but he really him and Lawrence just weren't on the same page. Early in the year, he had trouble catching the ball, and then once they traded for Jacoby Myers in the middle of the year, he took over, and so I by far for me the most disappointing season or player this year. But yeah, he really stunk it up.
Hmm. Okay. Doug.
well, I had a list of like 7 or 8, and Brian Thomas was on there, but probably one of my most disappointing, and I knew the team wasn't going to be great, was Geno Smith, the quarterback for the
He's on my
Raiders.
list. Yeah,
I
he
mean,
played.
he started out 2-9 with 13 interceptions and a QBR, which is an overall quarterback rating of 29.3. I mean, you could almost pull anyone off the street and have a better QBR than that. I mean, for what they paid him or what they are paying him on his 3-year contract is he should be fired. I mean, honestly, and I understand their offensive line is dismal. I had Ashton Genty as gaining 2,000 yards as a rookie running back, and he barely broke 1,000. But you still got to throw it to your team more than you throw it to the other team, and I don't think he understood that. Um, so overall, because I mean, in all honesty, Kevin, he didn't play horrible last year for Seattle. Brayden was
Mhm.
glad they didn't keep him, especially the way he played this year. But you know, the Raiders wouldn't have traded for him to pay him what they're paying if he would have played like he did last.
Yeah.
He would have
Yeah,
paid, like that. So to me, he
Seattle.
was extremely disappointing for what they're paying him.
Well, that's also why Pete Carroll
Yeah.
isn't the coach there anymore. So,
Well, that played a big part in it. Yes.
and why Pete Carroll should have been the coach there in the first place. But anyway, we're gonna move on from that. Um, do you guys? Who do you think should be the MVP for this year?
I'm saying Stafford. I don't think it's really close. I don't know. Online, I'm seeing everybody say Drake May, and I mean he's played really well. But if you look at just strictly numbers, Stafford has more yards. He's got more, like 11 more touchdowns. They have the same number of interceptions, and so to me, it's not close. I'd say Stafford.
Okay.
Yeah, I got Stafford, and I had Drake May as probably second. I just, I think there was some good candidates. And Brayden and I had this discussion. Stafford's never won it at 37. I think there may be a little bit, even if you're on the fence between Drake May and Stafford, knowing that Drake's 23, whatever, and has a whole career ahead of him, they may be like, okay, Stafford's right there with him, or in my opinion, even better. Let's give it to the old man because this is probably his swan song, more or
Stafford
less.
should
So
win
I
it.
think, yeah, and I think he should win it either
Just
way.
looking at who they played, New England didn't have a hard schedule. The Rams are
No,
in the NFC West. I mean, the Niners have 12 wins and we have 14. The Rams have 12 or 13. Like, look at who they played. The Rams had the way harder schedule. He should win it.
By the way,
yeah.
folks, when Braden says "we," that is the Seahawks because he's a
Yeah,
Seahawks fan.
yeah. I talk
So
I
just
talk about them as
just
I'm
just
on the
so you
team.
know, when he says "we," that means the Seahawks. In case you didn't
Yeah,
know,
I'm
he's
kind of
wearing a
surprised
C.
he's,
Point down at your
yeah,
point
I
down
got
at
I
your.
got a
There you go. There
Seahawks
you go.
shirt on, but I don't have the hat on.
Yeah, just
yeah.
just so you know, when he says "we," that's the Seahawks. Anyway, okay, so offensive and defensive players of the year.
Um,
Uh, Go ahead.
oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Okay, well, for offense, I think they're going to give it to Jackson Smith and Najigba. I personally think Puka Nakua deserves the offensive player of the year. I could even make a case for Bijan Robinson for Atlanta. He had the most total scrimmage yards. And I think if CMC would have got 1,000 yards receiving plus 1,000 yard running, I think he could have been. But they're probably going to give it to Jackson. But I probably would have gave it to Puka. Defensive, I think it's across the board. It's going to be Myles Garrett. He broke the sack record last
Yep.
week.
Hmm.
I don't even think that's a competition
Yeah,
on the
I mean
defensive.
that makes sense because I remember seeing that. That was a pretty big thing because that's been tied with Strahan and who was the other guy that had the
TJ, yeah,
TJ
TJ
Watt
Watt.
tied it a couple
yeah.
years ago.
So
Yeah.
that's been
Yeah,
tied between
and
those two for a while now. Like those two have held it
yeah, I
for
think
a while.
TJ
So
tied it in 21, but Strahan was way back in like 99 or
yeah,
something.
so
So
it's
it
been
it it had,
it's been a
yeah,
while. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Who'd you have, Braden, for your offensive?
Well, offense player, I'm biased. I said and Jigba should be. I mean, he led the league in receiving. Nakua was close, but I think they had the same number of touchdowns. I That could go either way. Defensive player of the year is Garrett. Yeah, like you said, that's not
Yeah.
close. So
But see, the thing with Puka though, he averaged more per game. He averaged like 107 yards per game, and he led the league in receptions.
I
Only
my
by like 10, but yeah, you know,
I saw this online was like if Njigba had Stafford throwing him the ball, he would have had 2,500 yards. I think Njigba with Darnold throwing him the ball, I Stafford's a lot better than Darnold, and Nakua
yeah,
did. He missed games and he was right there behind him, but that could go either way.
yeah, it's a toss up. They're both deserving. So
Yeah.
Nick, you doing good over there?
Yeah, I actually have things to talk about when you get to coaches because I've been in a rabbit hole while you guys have been talking.
Oh,
So
okay. Well, we're
when we
getting
get there.
okay. Okay, cool. Just checking. What about rookies? Do you guys who do you think was the newcomers? Who we got for that?
I offensive player or offensive rookie of the year. This one's hard. I don't know who they're gonna give it to. I said Jackson Dart. I think he did enough early on in his rushing and stuff. I think he should win rookie of the year. And then defensively, it's between Nick Eamon for Seattle or that Cleveland Carson Swessinger guy. I would say Swessinger on defense, and I think Dart should win it on offense.
Okay, I had Schlesinger too. I think his numbers were up there so much is because Cleveland's offense couldn't
He
move the
was a
ball.
tackle machine.
He was a tackle machine. The defense was out there 90% of the time, so I think that padded his numbers. But he was really good. I agree with Brayden on that one. My offensive player of the year is I went with, is it Tataro McMillan or
Tedero, yeah,
yeah,
Tedero.
well, okay. Better. Okay. So, but the rookie wide receiver for the Panthers. I think I had Jackson Dart a second. I just don't think he played in it. He couldn't stay healthy. But I think if he
Yeah,
would
he
have
missed
stayed
some
healthy
games.
all year, I think he would have won it. But I think McMillan's probably going to win it with the receiving side. I had Ibuka early, the wide receiver out of Tampa, and the first 5 6 weeks of I mean, he was running away with it, and then they stopped throwing him the ball. He got lost. He got lost once Godwin got back and Evans got healthy and stuff. But so there was some good rookies out there. So I think that one's a little more open on that side.
Okay. What about comeback players?
Again, this guy was on my fantasy team, CMC. That's not for me. That's not close. He came back and kind of proved to people that he can stay healthy, and he is still a really good player. He's one of the best players when he's out there. This year he was, and I think he proved that. So I think he wins comeback player.
Yeah, I got CMC winning it. I think Hutchinson's probably second. He probably needed to put up a few more sacks and stuff and everything else. But I have a weird comeback player of the year. Is almost like Joey Bosa or something. That man has never been able to stay healthy, and I don't think he's missed a game for Buffalo. His pass, there's a statistic out there like your pass rush. I forget exactly what it is, but it's well over 90%, and that's really high. It has something to do with putting pressure on quarterbacks and stuff. So
What
I mean,
pass rush win rate? Is that what you were looking
I
at?
think something like that, but it's like 90.9 or something, which is a really high number. And Joey's never been able to stay healthy. And for him to stay healthy all season, he doesn't have the sack numbers and stuff like that, but he definitely over the arc of his whole career, this is one of his best years. Even when he was young, he couldn't stay healthy. But yeah, I'm with Brayden. McCaffrey's probably going to win it. So
Okay. And then the last one for the awards is the coach of the year.
This one again could go to anybody. I said Vrabel, but Ben Johnson has a good case, and Liam Cohen down in Jacksonville has a really good case too. But even guys like McDonald and Sean Payton in Denver, like those guys could win it. But I think Vrabel, he turned the Patriots around in his first year, so he could win it.
yeah, I got Vrabel winning it too. I there's something that says Shanahan could sneak in there a little bit. And the only reason I say that is just because you had, Brock Purdy miss 8 games. Kittle's been out some. Ayuk's not played all year, and he still had them within, one game of having the number one seed out west. So, but I don't think there's any way you like Braden said earlier, Patriots had 4 wins last year. They're number 2 seed, 14 wins, which might be a little diluted since they didn't have a really tough schedule since they sucked so bad last year. But still, to turn a team around that fast and to see how they're playing, I think he wins it probably.
Okay. We've got, yeah. And we've got, what, 8 coaches that have been fired? Because you just had McDaniel get fired yesterday, which I know, Doug, you said was not surprised. And Nick, this is your time. You said you went down a rabbit hole with coaches. So let's.
I did. And it started with Mike McDaniel, not because obviously I know anything about him or what he does, except that I love watching his interviews, like post-game interviews. But I knew that he had gotten fired. So then I went down a rabbit hole while you guys were talking because this is what I have to contribute. Because literally, I don't watch, as you guys know, I only watch the Chiefs games, and watching Minshew and all that it was just not fun to watch. So I don't have anything else to contribute except for now I know the star signs of all of the most successful coaches in history, and Mike McDaniel is not a successful star sign. So this is the rabbit hole I went down. Mike McDaniel is a Pisces, like me. His birthday is one day away from me. We're little emotional little babies. The most successful coaches
Oh, good Lord.
are Capricorn, Aries, Scorpio, or Leo. So then I was looking up names that I've heard, like Bill Belichick, Vince Lombardi, like just common names that I actually have heard of.
I would argue that Bill Belichick isn't actually a successful coach, but we'll move on from that.
It's just names I've heard, like other people talk about. So Bill Belichick is an Aries. That was on the list of most successful. Vince Lombardi was a Gemini. That was on the list too. Don Shula, for some reason, my brother was talking about him the other day. He's a Capricorn, so that was on the list.
Former Miami coach, yeah.
Yeah. And then the only other one I looked up was Andy Reid, but Andy Reid is a Pisces, just like me. He's an emotional little thing. So, anyways, that's what I had to contribute was I think Mike McDaniel was fired because he's a Pisces.
Okay. Well, that was fun.
That's an interesting take on why he was fired. I have a few other thoughts, but that is an interesting take.
Yeah.
Yes.
I yeah. I out of the fired coaches, is there one that you guys thought was the most surprising? Is there one, because there's, like I said, there's 8 that have been fired. I'm I'm sure there'll be somebody else that gets fired before the end, like by the time we get to the end of the season. But is there somebody that you were surprised about, or is there somebody that you're surprised that hasn't been fired yet? I know, Doug, you and Dad have talked about uh, why can't I think of his name at the Steelers? But
Tomlin.
Tomlin. But is there anybody on this list that you're surprised that got? Well, we talked about Harbaugh a little bit, but
Yeah, really Harbaugh's at the top. I mean, once he got fired, I don't think anyone saw that one coming. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Everyone else, Stefanski, I was kind of the Cleveland coach. I kind of thought Taylor might get fired because I still think they're waiting to have Burrow play a full season without getting hurt, and that just doesn't seem to happen. So, but yeah, by far, um, Harbaugh getting fired. I think he could pretty well just decide where he wants to go, and I'm not convinced that he's going to take one of the open positions. I'm not so sure that someone who is possibly thinking that they may give their coach one more year might be like, well, if we're on the fence with our current coach, I'm thinking of giving him one more year, but we can get John. We so I they may still go. There still may be another firing, even of the ones that aren't available right now.
yeah,
I don't know whether I would take. Um, I don't know out of all the open jobs. I think Brayden and I've had this discussion. Probably the Giants is probably right up
Well,
there. I don't think he wants to rebuild. Well,
now would be the
Miami.
Ravens, but
Well, that one's
Giants
open,
for
but I mean, for
Harbaugh, the Giants is by far the best job.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
But the Ravens' job is going to be coveted, forced to go there. So,
yeah.
but
Well,
I
I
think,
have the guy who should have been fired. Now they've already announced that he's going to come back next year. Would be Todd Bowles for Tampa Bay. I mean, they collapsed. You talk about Indy, which Indy collapsed, but Daniel Jones went down and stuff. Todd Bowles, you even said that mid-season, like this is what gets your coach fired. Like Todd Bowles I don't think should be there next year, but they've already announced he's coming back. So I'm kind of surprised he didn't get fired, but everyone else I could see. I'm kind of surprised about Carroll though. I mean, they normally give him at least 2 years to make that. I mean, the Raiders were horrible, but that one kind of surprised me. But yeah, Bowles being still the coach there, that's surprising.
Yeah, but I'm not sure Bowles will last though, Brayden, just because McDaniel, I mean, they said McDaniel was going to be a big part of hiring the new GM. And then as soon as Harbaugh gets let go, all of a sudden McDaniel's gone. So that may still be in play as far as that goes.
I
So
just saw that the other day. They've already confirmed that he'll be back, but we'll see.
yeah, it'll be interesting. So, well, and Braden, not to steal your thunder, but you're not convinced that if the Steelers lose Monday night, that Tomlin won't get fired.
No, if they lose Monday, I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Yeah, they haven't won a playoff game in 10 years, and they're in the playoffs every year. It's not like they haven't just been in the play. They're in the playoffs every year. They just can't win a
Yeah,
game.
yeah. The Steelers though are not a big team to fire a coach.
They're fans, though. If I was a Steelers fan, we haven't talked. I don't know. I know for me, like Seattle was like Pittsburgh and in this playoffs every year, but we just lost every first round game. I wouldn't be happy with that. I would want something different.
Oh, I'm sure the Steelers do want. I'm sure the fans do want something different. But the
Yeah.
Steelers have been around for a long time, and they've only had 3 coaches, I think. So it's not they don't do a lot of coaching changes. So, um,
Yeah, and real quick before we move on, I think a lot comes into Aaron Rodgers. I think a lot comes into play. I told Braden, I said, I think Aaron wants to come back. Everything you hear from him, he's had fun playing, but I don't think he's going to want to play for a new coach. I
yeah,
think it's going to kind of be, I think there's probably already been discussions that Aaron will come back if Tomlin comes back, but I don't think Aaron's coming back if they get rid of Tomlin.
and that's a possibility
Um,
too.
I think that's kind of a tandem, but it'd be interesting. I mean, the organization has to do what's best for the organization.
Hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see after the game, one way or the other, what happens.
Yeah. Okay. So we've gone through the season. So let's look into what's next because we are recording this on Friday. The games haven't actually started for the postseason, but when this airs, we will have already had 2 in the books. So let's say we got wild card matchups starting. Well, for us, it's tomorrow, but 2 of them are already going to be done. So, what do you guys think is the best wild card matchups this weekend? We've got Buffalo at. Well, here, let's start with Saturday. So, Saturday, we've got the Rams at the Panthers. We've got the Packers at the Bears. We've got the Bills at the Jags. We've got the 49ers at the Eagles. We've got the Chargers at the Patriots. We've got the Texans at the Steelers. So those are your 6 matchups this weekend. What do you guys
I think all these
is...
games. Yeah, I think all these games will be good. To me, the 2 best would be on Sunday with Buffalo at Jacksonville and then the Niners at Philly. I think those 2 are the most intriguing, but I think the Packers Bears game Saturday night could be good. I think Green Bay could easily upset. Monday night's game with Pittsburgh and Houston, I think that'll be low scoring. Those 2 defenses probably will keep that game low scoring. But yeah, any of these teams could win, but I think those 2 early games Sunday look most intriguing to me.
Okay. Doug, what about you?
Yeah, I got the Patriots Chargers game's probably the most intriguing. I personally think that the Jaguars are going to blow out the Bills. I just think Josh Allen is 0-5 on the road in playoff games. Um, and man, the Jags are just playing so darn well. I think it's an intriguing game, but I think the Jags are just going to blow them away. I really
Mm-hmm.
do. I mean, and I say blow them away like 33-20. To me, that's a blowout in the playoffs type thing. So, but I think the Patriots Chargers is going to be an interesting match. I'm actually taking the Chargers to upset the Patriots in that. Um, I just think like Brayden has commented a couple times, Chargers had a lot tougher schedule. I don't know that I trust Drake May in this position. The Chicago game will be interesting. There's supposed to be some weather. I still think the Bears are the better team. They're the better running team. So if you've got weather, a lot of times it comes down to more of a defensive running game. Jordan Love's not played last few weeks. I think he's going to look a little rusty. I don't think he's played that well to begin with this year. So, yeah, I'm like Brayden. I don't know that there's any games that are just, unwatchable. But yeah, that Monday night game, if you don't like defense, don't watch it. So there may not be a whole 10-7 may win the game. So
Okay, well, tell that to my father because you know that he doesn't like a defensive game. So
I've always told him I love a defensive game as long as the score is 10-7 because good defense. I don't want to see a 10-7 game because the offenses don't know who to throw the ball to. So a good just smash you in the face defensive game I love.
yeah, well,
So
he does not like that. So
I know he doesn't. Yes.
okay, well, I know at least one person who's not on this list from you, Doug, because you just mentioned him. Well, you just mentioned the team anyway. But quarterbacks you trust most in the playoffs, and you just mentioned Josh Allen. And the Bills not being able to ever, or not being able to make it, and he hasn't really ever been able to make it in the playoffs. So, who do you trust as a quarterback in the playoffs?
Well, in all honesty, in the AFC, Allen is the quarterback that I trust the most. I don't trust the defense. They are the worst run defensive team left in the playoffs.
Okay,
And the Jags are right up there at the top. Um, I don't know that they're going to lose because of Josh.
okay,
I just don't. He just has not. He hasn't always played bad when they've lost on the road. I
okay,
just don't see it. And see, there's a lot of rumors out there that if they do lose, if McDermott his job might even be on the line, because they're starting to waste away a lot of Allen's best years,
yeah,
and stuff. And the NFC, it's Stafford. I think he's I don't worry about him losing them the game.
yeah.
Let's put it like that. He's got the history there, and like I said, he's been there before, won a Super Bowl. So yeah, I trust Stafford and probably Allen the most. I just don't trust the Bills as a team.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, Allen, he does a good job, obviously, but it's I, me and again, me and my dad were talking about this, your brother, um, and how because he thinks that the Bills should just be able to blow through all this because they don't have the Chiefs to go up against because that's the only team that they've ever seemed to not be able to get past in the playoffs. But it doesn't. It seems just like they just can't ever get anywhere in the playoffs whenever they get here. So I don't know. We'll see. I just think they seem to fail in the playoffs. So we'll see. But Brayden, anyway, who do you trust the most in the play? In the
I've got the
quarterbacks?
same too. I think Josh and the AFC's all the other guys in the AFC are younger. I mean, I he's not played. He's not the reason they've lost the games anyway. They've never been able to win, get to the Super Bowl. But he's not been the reason why. But this is the Bills' worst team. Like even though Cincinnati and Baltimore and Kansas City aren't in the playoffs, this is Buffalo's worst team that he's had. He doesn't have any help on defense or really offensively other than James Cook. But quarterback wise, I still trust him the most. And then NFC is easy. It's Stafford. He's older and he's the best quarterback left, I think.
Okay. Um, which team of these last few do you guys think has the toughest path to the Super Bowl?
I said it with Buffalo. I did you fill out a bracket on the thing? I filled out a bracket just to like do my own predictions here, but I was looking at it. If they do somehow go into Jacksonville, that's a tough game. But so they go to Jacksonville, and then they're either going to have to probably go to. I think New England's going to win, so I think they'll either have to go to New England or Denver. Both of those games would be tough, and then they would have to go somewhere to the AFC Championship game and then to the Super Bowl. They've got three really tough games if they somehow get there. So I don't see them winning this weekend, but if they do, they've got a tough path to get to the Super Bowl.
Okay. Doug, what about you?
Yeah, I took the Panthers. I mean, I know they're the seventh seed and stuff, but even if they win, they're going to have to probably go out west. You got three very dominant teams out west, and I just think they've got the hardest path. My second would be the Bills, so I don't totally disagree. I just think the Panthers have a little tougher road. Yeah, I mean, if somehow the Bills win, the Patriots lose and stuff, they might get a home game. somehow or another, weird things happen. I just I just think the Panthers are just looking at the bracket and stuff. Got a
Panthers are
tough.
the 4th seed though, so if they do
Are
win,
they the 4? I thought they
Yeah,
were the
they're the
7.
4th. They
they're the
won their
fourth.
division, so
Yeah.
they are the 4th
Never
seed.
mind. I apologize. That's my
So
bad on
they
the
they could
seeding.
end up if they somehow knock off the Rams, they could get another home game depending on who else wins. But
Okay, well, see, Brayden knows more than I do, but I still think they've. My theory on that, I guess, other than messing up which seeding they are, is they'd have to go through the West, and I think those NFC West teams are. I think I think the NFC West is the stronger division over the AFC. So either way, whether they have someone coming there for a game two, if they win the first one, I still think they've got the harder path.
that's why I don't like the seeding in the playoff. You know how all that works because the Rams should have the home game. I know they didn't win their division, but their division is so much harder. Like, what is Carolina 8-9 and they're hosting a playoff game?
So
Yeah,
you think they should just
I
can.
completely disagree with that.
you think they should just
Yeah,
throw all the teams in there and just let them?
I I wouldn't have an issue if they did just the top 7 just based off records
Okay.
and strength of schedule almost. But some people like the division. You win your division, you get a playoff game. But this has happened several years now where it's like you've got a below 500 team, which Carolina's like 8-9, and they're hosting the 12-5 Rams or 13-4 Rams, whatever. I don't think that's right. But
Yeah, I get it, but yeah, it's
yeah,
just
it's
the way
it's
that it
it's
plays
just you're
out.
rewarded for winning your division. You can
Yeah,
only play the teams you play.
yeah,
So I mean, I don't know that there's a perfect world out there.
no,
I mean,
oh, there's not. But
the strength of schedule, I truly do believe should come into play. So I'm not totally against it. I mean, maybe you do something where you at least have to have a winning record, that where if you are
yeah, I
below,
mean,
but
yeah,
there's a lot of ways you could jostle that around. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem fair, and it does seem to be happening more often. Um,
yeah. This is just
way
like a
back,
couple times now where it's happened. Like used to, it never happened. Like, and you would think if you win your division, whoever's coming to your home stadium would have a lower record or a worse record. But this happened multiple times now, and yeah, recent years where it's like you've got these wild card teams that are but with better records than who they're having to go on the road and play. It's
yeah, it
weird.
happened when Braden. It happened when Braden was younger because the Saints had a really good record and they had to go up to Seattle, and that's when beast mode was kind of developed with Marshawn Lynch because he had that run that just threw people aside. And I mean, was that fair to the Saints? No, they had the better record, but they went, so it just didn't happen very often. But like Braden said, it does seem to be happening almost on a yearly occurrence anymore. So I
hmm
think they need to look into that a little bit. So
Okay, last question. Before we just, I guess, go on with whatever we want to do, but who do you think is gonna go? Who we got playing in the Super Bowl?
Go ahead. I want to hear your answer first.
let's see. I got the Rams playing the Jaguars, and I have the Rams winning.
Okay, I've also got Jacksonville. They've surprised me. They're playing really well too. I took Seattle to get there. Hopefully somehow, I don't know. I if that matchup happens, I trust Seattle more. If we can get past the Rams, I think we'll win the Super Bowl. But if we run into the Rams, they scare me. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
There's that we
Seattle
again.
was right there. I just don't know if they got to play the Rams.
They scare.
You
If we
better you
play
better
them,
hope
I would.
you better hope
I don't
Carolina
know.
beats the Rams. You better hope.
Well, you don't have to have that. I think the Rams will win tomorrow. I think they'll win. I hope San Francisco or Green Bay wins, and then we'll play them. And yeah, I don't know. I just don't want to play them if someone else got to knock them off.
Yeah. Well, they're playing well. They're going to get Devontae Adams back. They got Higbee back. They're just strong on both sides of the ball. Seattle, Braden, you and I have talked. It's their defense. They're going to go as their defense is always going to be there. They're going to go as far as Sam Darnold protects the
Our
ball.
only saving grace is we are home. Seattle is always a tough place to play in the regular season. We haven't hosted a playoff game in a long time. It's going to be hard to go in there and win, but if Darnold plays horrible, we could easily lose. So
Yeah, I
we'll
agree.
see. I'm not
Yeah.
confident in Darnold though at all. I'm not.
Well,
But
no, and like in the AFC, Denver's number one seed, but they're not that good. they
Oh, I had
honestly
that.
aren't that good.
I had the same thought. To me, both one seeds in each conference are like the same. Like both defenses are really good. Both offenses are hit and miss, and quarterbacks can be iffy. And I think Denver is more likely to lose than we are, but I could easily see Seattle getting knocked off. So we'll see.
Yeah, it ought to be interesting. So, in all honesty, like we said at the beginning, it really to me is an open playoff bracket.
Yeah.
I have those two teams in the Super Bowl, but I would not be shocked if two other teams came out of nowhere. I mean, honestly, it is a very open playoff bracket this year.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Go Seahawks.
Uh,
I don't know.
I don't know. I really don't have any thoughts. I mean, we covered a lot of the stuff, and I don't know. Um, no, I don't know.
Oh, you got to touch on your Cardinals prediction here.
Oh yeah, I mean, Brayden and I did go back and we looked at some of our preseason predictions we did,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I definitely bombed on a few of them.
Okay.
I did get a few right. Yeah.
That one was
I
just funny to me. I
well,
when
I had
you said that in the preseason podcast, I looked at you crazy because I was like, "What are you on? Like, there's no way." And they
yeah.
won 3 games all year. Like,
Well, I had Arizona as being really good, and they fired their coach, so that tells you they weren't. I think I had CD Lamb who got hurt, breaking the reception record. That
Yeah. Well,
didn't happen.
I mean,
I I
you
I
can't.
did get a couple though.
You
I
can't.
got Garrett,
You can't
you know.
really take into effect that somebody gets hurt. Like that's something you can't
Yeah,
really take into
that's true.
effect. So
I got Garrett breaking the sack record, and then I got New England making the playoffs. I said New England might be a sneaky playoff team. I didn't think they would win the division like they did,
yeah.
but I did get those two prediction rights. But I had a lot more that I got wrong than I did get right. So yeah, I think Brayden got a couple right in his
the only one I
predictions.
got right was Evans, but that's because I knew he was going to get hurt and miss. He just normally he just misses a couple of games. This year he broke his collarbone and missed a lot of games. So, but yeah, my other one
Yeah,
was Saquon getting 2,000 yards again. That was way off. So
yeah. Who was your miss? Did you put down any disappointing players? Because I had Saquon as one of my. I mean, did you
the
put
only other
very
one
just
I had Brian Thomas, which you also had Gino, and then I had Tua. I thought Tua did not play well. He
okay?
you know, but there were other players. Saquon didn't play great. I think that was mainly the offensive line, but there were a lot of guys that could probably be on that list.
Yeah, I had Saquon and like Justin Field, McLaurin. Um, yeah, Jaden Daniels. But like Kevin just said, it's really hard to say you had a disappointing season effort wise if you're hurt the whole time. So, I mean, it's still a disappointing season when you look at it, but that's kind of out of your control. It's not because
Yeah.
you played bad if you're hurt. So,
Yeah. Exactly. So I don't. I know, Doug. You said you didn't really get a fact, or you didn't really have a fact.
no, my fun fact was the Josh Allen that he's 0-5 on the road in playoff games, but I kind of already used that saying they were going to get beat by the Jags. So
Yeah.
that I kind of dropped the ball. I apologize.
That's fine. We don't have to do fun facts this week.
But I don't know if you, Kevin, I don't know if you know this. I don't know that you know this, Bill. The Jets not getting an interception all year, like that's never been done before. They are in the history books for that one,
I think I
going all
heard
year and
that.
not. Yeah, they
I
go
think I
all
heard
year
that the
and
other day.
don't
Yeah.
get an interception. That's never happened. I mean, that's hard to believe, honestly.
Well, they are the team that got the butt fumble, so it's
Yeah.
Well,
Just
and
like overthrows or a deflected
yeah,
pass
just
like
a tip
nothing,
ball,
like just
something. Yeah,
that's
it's
crazy.
crazy,
Like that is hard to believe.
and especially when you have a defensive coach. He came he came from Detroit. He was supposed to be a defensive guru guy,
Yeah.
and then that I forgot about that stat. Yeah,
And then their
that's
offense
hard to believe.
sucked and their defense was out there a whole bunch because their offense was horrible. So it's not like their offense was always on the field. Like that was crazy. I saw that stat like week 10 and they're like, oh, they're on pace. Like if they don't get one, and then they went the rest, the last month of the year and they didn't get one. That was To me, that's funny.
That
That's
is a-
crazy. That's
that is a
crazy.
That is a crazy stat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a crazy stat. Nick, you look like you have a face. What's you look
I
like you
do.
got something
I
to
was
say.
looking up not very real statistics on Reddit
Oh,
because
okay.
the only thing I really know about Josh Allen is that he's now married and expecting a baby soon. So I was looking up, like, does having a baby make football players worse? And there are some theories on Reddit. And I mean, this is not like any serious stuff, but there's someone that like counted the stats of offensive players that had girls versus boys and how that affected their performance. And apparently, if Josh Allen has a girl, he will have a good season. If he has a boy, he won't, is what Reddit says.
Reddit is an interesting place. That's for
It
sure.
That's interesting. Well, that's why a lot of people say he's not had a good year. He's been too preoccupied getting married and all this and that. But like Brayden said, statistically, yeah, he's probably not. I mean, still had a great year.
I mean,
He had a good year. He's
there's
just
still 12 and
people
5
hold
in the
him to.
playoffs. So
Yeah, they hold
Yeah.
him to a high standard. So
yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, I think that is it for this week, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Football season's coming to an end, which stinks, but you know, we got a month left or so, and then the Super Bowl. So, hope you guys had fun. We did, and we will talk to you guys next week.